Good afternoon, Mikel.
Hello.
Good to speak with you today. Can we start off with team news and in particular Thomas Partey, who I know trained this morning?
Yeah, Thomas had a session before the game, the last game, and now he's done 2-3 consecutive sessions, so he should be part of the squad on Monday.
And how about Alexander Zinchenko, Tomiyasu or Yurian Timber? Could they be part of the squad?
Those ones is possible, but we have to wait and see, especially the last 2 sessions that we have on Saturday and Saturday and Sunday, and if that's the case, they might be available on Monday.
Gabriel Jesus returned to the squad for the game against Newcastle, but of course he didn't play. Is he ready to start a Premier League match?
Well, he's fit enough. You know how long he will last. That's something different probably, but we didn't want to take any risk after the results that we had against Newcastle. Obviously, we need him fit. He's a massive player for us, and I want to make sure that now we load the player in the right way.
In terms of your opponents on Monday night, Sheffield United, I was at the game against Wolves and they showed plenty of fight, particularly in attack. What challenges do you think they'll pose?
Yeah, a really difficult team to beat, and you watch, and I watch 4 or 5 games now. With the City game, the way they started against Villa, and then obviously the game took a different route. But as you mentioned, they are extremely well coached. I know Chris really well, and I admire his teams and a lot of things that he does with them. It will be Monday Night Football, and it's going to be a tough night.
And finally from me, I mean, how difficult is it to play a team that's fighting against relegation, but particularly this stage of the season?
I imagine that it's really tough for them, and the ambitions are different, but both really important. And when I imagine when you are there, you want to get out of there as quick as possible, and we have a lot to play for as well, and it's a big game for us.
Ian.
Hi Mikel, how are you?
Very good, thank you.
Last few Premier League games you scored quite a few goals. Is that going to be important coming into the season? It's a 3-way battle, and who knows regarding the amount of goals and goal difference you score?
Yes, for sure. It's an important element there. First of all, you have to earn the right to win the games, and then we want to be ruthless and efficient in front of goal, and I think lately we've been really good.
Because quite often you see a team that get 3 or 4-0 up in a game, and then they take their foot off the gas, save their energy for a future game.
Yes, you can do that. It's not been the case recently against Newcastle. The last 15-20 minutes, maybe we could have done a bit more, and we have to continue to do that, especially when you bring the subs in, because they can re-energize the team and still maintain a really high level, and it's something that we want to continue to do.
You play last this weekend. In terms of the schedule, is that a good thing to be playing after everyone else? You see what they've done, or would you rather go first to put pressure on them?
We've done 2-3 different scenarios, is what we have right now. We know all the results, but it's irrelevant. What we want to do is go to Sheffield, perform the way we are performing, and win the match, and the rest we cannot control.
You said some nice things about Sheffield United, about being hard to beat, but they have conceded a lot of goals, especially recently at Bramall Lane. Is that something you'll be targeting?
Well, as with every team, we look at the weaknesses and the strengths and try to take the game where we want, but I'm saying this because I know that team really well. I analyzed it many years ago as well, and things that Chris did, and I learned from his teams, and I'm telling you, it's going to be a really tough match.
And the last one, March, important month. We all thought at the end of last weekend you all played the same number of games, but in March you've got to play City have got to play Liverpool as well. How big a month are we going into now?
Well, first of all, depending what happened for us on Monday and the rest of the results, and that would have an impact. So the only thing you can do is the next game and focus on that, and the rest will come.
Thanks, Ian. Mark.
Hi, Mikel. You
Hi.
mentioned there about the potential that Yurian might be in the squad on Monday. Is his recovery?
Sorry. It wasn't about Duran. It was about the other 2.
Oh.
Duran is still not close enough to be part of the squad on Monday.
I know he's now back training, though, isn't he? And how surprised have you been just by the speed of his recovery? And does it tell you just his determination that how much he wants to play for your team?
Absolutely, it's been a joy, and all the physios and the medical staff are really happy with his attitude and his commitment, and especially the way things have gone. But it's not a coincidence the way he applies, how determined he is, his willingness to put every effort in everything that he's demanded to do, and he's in a really good place. Now we have to manage, because that's the last stage of that difficult injury that is complicated, but I think he's in the right way.
You lost him obviously on his Premier League debut. What have Arsenal missed not having him in the team this year?
Well, first of all, his leadership, his versatility, the quality that he has to play in different positions, especially in attacking phase, the spaces that he can occupy, and certain qualities that nobody else has in the squad to do that. And as you could tell that he was fitting in, the more he fits him in, he's really liked around the boys, and yeah, it's been a big miss.
And then just finally, you play the team bottom of the table on Monday, having won 5-0, 6-0, 4-1. Is there any concerns of a potential overconfidence from the players, or do you not see that at all?
I hope not, and we were very clear straight after Newcastle the difficulty that we're going to have on Monday to beat Sheffield. So hopefully they are very aware from 3 days ago, and we have prepared our week, and we're going to continue to prepare, understanding that that's going to be the case.
Thanks, Mark. James?
Hi, Mikel.
Hi.
Chelsea winning last night means you now don't play them on March the 16th, so you're going to have quite a long gap. Is
Yeah.
that a help or a hindrance at this stage of the season?
It is what it is. We knew that it was an option, and I will plan to use that time the best possible way, because that would mean that then we would have a more congested period in April.
I mean, obviously there's an international break, but would you look to potentially organise a friendly that weekend, or try and get some competitive football of some description?
Players would have different demands, and the majority of them would have international matches as well, and international training sessions. So I don't think it's going to be a case of needing more minutes, and if there are 3-4 particular cases, I'm sure we can address that.
Sorry, just finally, it does mean you won't have a game for almost 3 weeks before you play Man City, which is obviously a massive game. Is that a help or a disadvantage going into a game of that magnitude?
Yeah, the difference is 3-4 more days. You know, we're going to have 2.5 or 3 weeks. That's it. And I don't think that that's going to change the world.
Thanks, James. Charles?
Just on Gabriel Jesus, Mikel, you said back in August, just before the season, that he was going to have the operation to try and sort of resolve the issue that was sort of hanging around since the World Cup. Given what's happened since, and you're kind of still managing that injury, is it sort of safe to say that what you hope happened with that operation, it hasn't quite gone to plan?
No, it didn't happen, and that was resolved. What happened is that he got a knock in another area that caused a different kind of injury afterwards. It wasn't related to the first one, and then he had a little niggle. It was a muscle issue that kept him for 10 days out.
The issue that's happening now, and the sort of fluid on the knee and managing the situation, is there a kind of fear that again, come the summer, again he might have to go under the knife to try
No. I think that's resolved for as long as I know. Probably it's a question more specific for the doctors, but as far as I'm concerned, I think that's been resolved.
Thanks, Charles. James?
Hi, Mikel.
Hi.
Despite having lots of injuries, you found a really nice balance and chemistry in defence. And I just want to get your assessment of Jakub Kiwior's contribution to that, because obviously he had quite a slow start to his career at Arsenal, but he's made a big contribution in recent weeks.
Yeah, we made a decision to bring him in earlier because we believe that whoever player we were going to assign to have the role that he had to have, he was going to need time, and that was the case. And we have made it difficult for him for 2 reasons. One, because he hasn't played that many minutes, and the second one, because we asked him to play in a position that he's never played before. So it's like pulling William Saliba as a fullback and say, there we go tomorrow and perform and do what we have to do. And I think he's adapted really well. I think he's playing better and better. You can tell that he's earning confidence, and physically is better. He understands the role much better, and he's been really good.
And have you had to adapt that role as well to meet him?
Yeah.
How's that process?
It's all about that. At the end, you can ask players to do things that they don't feel capable, especially of doing in a natural way. So we have to tweak a few things to make sure that the players play in their strengths.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, James. Kaya?
Hi, Mikel.
Hi.
I wanted to ask about Tomiyasu. Obviously played 90 minutes for Japan and then came back with an injury. We've not seen him since, but at the start it seemed like it had been a minor one. Has he had a setback between then and now? Has something happened to him?
Yeah, well, he had an injury. So I think in the last game when he played with Japan, he felt something. He was out. We expected to be a little bit shorter, but in the beginning he was a bit struggling in the recovery. And we decided to extend that period to be more certain because he's a player that we really need, and we are very short and we cannot risk him and be out for months.
Was that a recurrence of the injury he had in December?
I think it was something slightly different to that.
And obviously with Tom Petty coming back not too far distant and the squad sort of getting more deep now, What does that give you going forward? I know you spoke about unpredictability and how important that is for you. What strength will that give you going into the last couple of months of the season?
Yeah, that's one thing. Then depth, because we don't know what's going to happen, and we can have a lot of games. So freshness, more competition within the squad, the capacity to change games. Change games when the scenario it's in our side, when we are chasing games. Something that in this period is going to be critical.
On AM, on DAB, via the talkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. talkSPORT.